you saw on Twitter, but Carl.
Okay, guys. Sorry, Jay. We are live. So, for those listening at home, welcome to the Live from the Sword Coast podcast, now in progress. My name is Kevin Madison, and I will be your friendly dungeon master this evening. Tonight, we are running the Session 0 for our brand new campaign playing Arc Dream Publishing's very cool Delta Green role-playing game. And joining me tonight are the stars of the campaign. I'll go the order that, the order that they are desperately trying to talk. So I'll start with our good buddy, Jason Hobbs. Why don't you tell us who you are? And we don't know who you're playing because we're going to be meeting these characters tonight.
Hey, everybody. I am Jason Hobbs, podcaster and RPG writer, I guess. I do a podcast called Hobbs and Friends, Hex Talk, and a Random Screed.
And Jason is also the DM for the legendary sandbox campaign Kalmata that he runs on his YouTube channel. So,
and the founder of Hobbs-a-Palooza. Like, come on, hello.
Yes, he's a Renaissance man.
I had no idea. I should have wrote these things down.
Yeah. Next up, we got Jeffrey.
Hey everybody, I'm Jeff, and I play on Kevin's channel all the time. That's where you find me.
Is Dave.
And what are you drinking, Jeff?
Oh, I'm actually still drinking the Jefferson's Reserve. It is very tasty.
Very nice.
I am Dave Forche, at David J. Forche on Instagram and Twitter. I am a fantasy and science fiction writer. I play on Kevin's channel, and tonight I am drinking a little American bullet bourbon. Taking a bullet for the team.
Very nice. And last but not least is Adam.
Hey everybody, I am Adam. I'm drinking Zevia. Nothing alcoholic. And you can find me at Twitter at Game Master Adam 1. Apparently Game Master Adam without the 1 did some bad stuff and got banned. So that's not me. I'm the one with the 1.
Hello, my name is Guy Incognito. Oh man! All right, so the campaign that we're playing is a Delta Green campaign that I have titled Veritas Vos Liberabit, and this campaign is going to be a little. Not only are we going to be playing a very different style of game to what we normally play in the channel, which is to say we're doing a modern-day horror conspiracy campaign, we're also running a game. It's a bit of an experiment to offer some viewer participation in this. So this campaign will see the stars of our campaign try to manage their sanity as they unravel a conspiracy that will be revealed over the course of the campaign. In addition to the actual play at the table, we have started a group on MeWe, which you can find a link to in the description of the video. We're going to be posting some, basically that will be the place where people will get documents, like in-universe documents. There will be links to things that will be developing the campaign, including some audio clips and whatever other kind of bizarre shit I want to throw into the campaign to try and confound and break down my players' characters. And speaking of breaking the player characters, let's talk about what kind of characters we're going to be playing in this. So the Delta Green game, guys, just as a bit of a historical background, have to forgive me for repeating myself again, because I said this to you guys before we went live, but Delta Green has its origins in a supplement that was published back in the late 90s or mid to late 90s by, actually, I don't remember, Paradigm something or other, I think was the name of the company at the time. Same authors, same creative people involved, just a different game. At the time, the Alien, the sort of X-Files alien conspiracy stuff was very, very much in vogue. And this game was a game that was an effort to kind of meld that kind of, part of the zeitgeist in with traditional Call of Cthulhu investigative horror, like Lovecraftian horror play. Now, one of the ways that it substantially differed as well was that the players were actually, or the characters were actually part of an organization. Call of Cthulhu is traditionally kind of like, loosely associated investigators who are going out and doing crazy, shit that no normal person would ever do, but you do it because it's a role-playing game. And then over time, your characters would go mad, and that was it. What Delta Green did is it offered a structure to that as well. So even though your characters were still the same kind of, fragile mortals that other Call of Cthulhu characters were, in Delta Green, you were a part of some kind of branch of the American government, be it law enforcement, intelligence, or military. And we're going to be carrying on that proud tradition in the new game. This is released, I believe, 2 years ago. And the new Delta Green is actually a standalone game. You don't need anything else to play the game. It's now published by Arc Dream Publishing, and it's got a ton of really cool stuff out for it, including a free play. So for those listening at home, if this does sound like a game that might be of interest to you and your home group, you can actually find a free quick play with some, I believe, one free adventure in it as well. So you can take the old game out for a test drive and see if you can break down your characters as well. So one of the things that the game talks about, guys, in the book is how to play an agent. And that's the stuff I want to talk about, and talk about if there's any difference that I have for it. I'm looking at page 10 of the core rulebook, or the Agent's Handbook. So one of the things is describing your agent's actions. That's really just a way of them encouraging you to frame your description of your how your character does things in different ways. I've played with all of you before. You guys already do that part, so you don't really need to read that. Respond quickly. Again, I'm not super concerned with any of you guys who are playing in this, because none of you guys are like, oh, I was checking my phone, what happened? So I'm not concerned about that. Speak for your agent. We don't need to be, none of us are thespians, so we don't necessarily need to be, embracing too much of our inner, actor. But, if there are moments where playing your character's personality would add something to the overall session, then go nuts with that. The playing your character, and all of you guys are experienced enough gamers and good enough gamers that I'm not going to see you guys trying to be like, well, this is what my character would do, so I'm going to do it, even though it's fucking up the game. That kind of stuff can be done in a fun way. And in particular, if you think that there's genuinely no other way for your character to react than what what you see as the way that may be disruptive, then that's fine. But if there is alternatives to the ways you can make your character react to a situation, one of which is sort of non-disruptive and one of which is incredibly disruptive, I'm going to ask you to consider going with the former rather than the latter, in the interest of, because gaming, as we all know, is a team sport. So we're all kind of in this together. Respect the mood. This is a really important one for this. And this is, as a remorseless, smart-ass player, mood is everything in this. Enjoy the bleak humor that often comes from seeing the trouble that agents fall into, but don't let your eagerness to get a laugh ruin the chilling suspense of confronting cosmic terrors. Now, that doesn't mean that we can't laugh and joke. And to be honest, one of the things that happens in horror games is players will burn off energy and anxiety by making jokes. So that's totally cool. What isn't cool is trying to force humor into a situation where we're all enjoying a specific mood. Again, I don't really have a concern with any of you guys doing that, but it's worth just mentioning that from the outset. Work with the other players. One of the things that was really successful in the first couple of times that I've run this is, because this is a modern world and because you're playing characters who are existing in that modern world, it's really easy to think of how to role play those characters in that context. You can think of like, oh, I'll check my phone and I'll text so-and-so this message, or I'll whatever. When you're talking over things, when you're trying to sort out a problem or a plan or stuff like that, try and stay in character as much as you can, because that's actually, it ends up being pretty fun. And one of the things I think you'll see is that it's easier to get in the head of your character and figure out how to play that guy other than just yourself trying to solve mysteries in a fictional world, is by staying in character while you're discussing, certain things. This actually goes for the viewers at home as well, is if there are ways that you can, one of the reasons why I set this up as a viewers assisted campaign is because we are not, you guys as the players, you're not living in this fictional world. So between sessions, there's gonna be shit that you'll forget, because you're either playing other games or life comes up or whatever. What the viewers will do is help remind you as the player of that character. Hey, so-and-so encountered that in the first session. And I plan to introduce stuff in that kind of way, where things will be subtle and things will be, they may fly under the radar. So, yeah. Trust the handler. I love that. In the player book, they tell you to trust your DM. That's obviously terrible advice.
Yeah. Who's thinking that?
Yeah, really. But that's it. So, I mean, like, that's really the only things. It's really the mood and working together to solve these things. Mysteries, running a mystery game or playing a mystery game is a totally different it's a totally different way the interface with the game than a game like D&D or Pathfinder or something like that, or Star Wars even for that matter. What you guys will probably want to be doing in broad strokes is finding a clue, running that to ground, and then figuring out what the next step is to try and get more clues if you can't get there. The first part of the story will be, it will launch, like in our first session, we're going to launch the story and it'll be clear kind of where things are going. And when we're starting, you guys aren't actually part of Delta Green. So we, as the players and DM, we know that you guys are going to be part of that organization at some point. But starting off, you guys won't know each other and you are not part of Delta Green yet. Now, before we jump into actually making the characters, anybody got any questions?
Which, what are we supposed to be looking at? The Roll20, the Hangout, or watching the live stream? Sorry.
You should be.
Or Twitter.
So for this game, you can watch any of those. But
Okay.
the Roll20 is where we're going to be when we're actually playing. And in a moment, we're going to do the camera shuffle and we're going to get into the Roll20 game as well.
Does that mean that we could interact with the watchers in the chat, or we shouldn't do that?
You can, absolutely. If anyone's, you feel free to interact with anybody who is in chat. In the course of play, again, I'm just going to trust you guys will manage. That you're not going to be spending too much time, as long as you're not missing elements of what's happening in play. I tend to switch back and forth, and I actually usually have my chat open in a separate computer. And Hobbs is in chat already. There you go. You're a remorseless socializer, Hobbs.
I don't know. I'm
He's
introverted.
got 6 levels in social butterfly.
Yeah, but he didn't like it yet. So, what's that worth?
All right. So what we'll do then is, unless anyone's got any questions, let's do the camera shuffle, get into Roll20, and then we'll start making these characters. So I need to... Oh, you guys are already all in there. I'm the one who's late to the fucking party. So
I figured out my camera on Roll20. Chrome.
Excellent.
My camera, so I am good now.
All right, here we go. Let's see here. Boom, boom. Okay, so I believe we are in the stream now. Terrific. Oh, I got to refresh here because otherwise my camera ain't going to work. See if that works. Okay, so again, guys, what you're going to be playing is characters who will become involved in this sinister conspiracy and will be working as part of the Delta Green organization. Now I'm going to rearrange our icons here. One little tip that a player told me as well too: if you change your display so that your avatars are displaying at the top of the page, it'll look more likely that you're making eye contact with your camera than looking down at the bottom.
I'm looking at my other screen. That's why I'm looking at
Yeah. Oh no, I'm well aware.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
You've
guys.
seen me do this a few times.
I have, yeah. It's not my first time to the Hobbs rodeo. Okay, so we've got. Looks like there are at least one character's got a name here now, which I believe is Adam's character.
Yes.
So first off, I mentioned that like one of the ways that this game differs from traditional Call of Cthulhu play is that you're actually playing, members of some kind of government body. One of the reasons for that is because there's some really neat rules for getting requisitions in this. So like in a previous session I've run of this, one of the players who was a member of the FBI, he got to a certain point and he's like, I want a fucking drone to, I'm not going to go tromping around in this desert. I'm going to requisition a drone and use that to fly over in it. And there are rules for sort of, to represent an abstracted reason of like you calling up like Doris in procurement and be like, Doris, hey, honey, remember those Christmas cookies I sent you? I need you to send me a drone. And we can't have any record of this coming out. So when you're a part of an organization, that gives you access to a lot of those resources. If you're part of the military, having a rocket launcher fall off the back of the truck, or having night vision goggles, or something like that. You can play a traditional like Call of Cthulhu type character who'd be like a academic or like a private investigator or something like that. But one of the reasons why Delta Green recruits these people in is because they're embedded in these other organizations. So have you guys given any thought to where your characters are from? Like what organization that you think you're from? Adam, I think you had given some thought to yours, right?
Yeah, I was gonna have him. I don't know if he's kind of like an older style detective. I don't know if he's gonna be recruited later on, but he's kind of has this like hard-nosed detective, kind of been through a lot of crap and has seen some shit.
Okay. When you say detective, do you mean private detective, or do you mean someone who is an investigator for, the FBI, for NSA, for,
I was thinking like maybe FBI, but like maybe he was like a cop in like Chicago and then was recruited by the FBI.
Okay.
Whatnot. But he's like an older style. He's like in his 50s.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. Anyone else have any like sort of profession that they were leaning towards?
Yeah, I was going to play Dr. Angela Brackett, CDC disease specialist, somehow biochem degree, and got wrangled into this bracket.
Okay, very cool. Hobbs, I think you were going to talk there too?
Yeah, I'm going to base my character off one of my buddies who is, he's, I think, gang and anti-terrorist FBI.
Okay, cool. Anti-terror FBI. And Jeff, what are you thinking?
Maybe I'll go computers, like some kind of maybe like an NSA agent or something like that.
Yeah, sure. Like a data analyst?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. An NSA data analyst. Okay, cool. That is a cool mix. All right. So then to make these characters, guys, each of you has your character sheet there. So let's get those open. I see we've got Bill Taggart is Adam's character. So it'll be Special Agent Bill Taggart, technically.
Excellent.
And same thing with Hobbs, your character. Oh, everyone's got names here. Okay, so Angela Brackett is yours there, Dave, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Who plays Angela Brackett in the film version of our campaign?
About a 34-year-old Julianne Moore.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. Okay. Adam, do you know the name of that guy? The actor?
Holt McCallany. I don't know how to pronounce his last name because it's
McCallany?
So it's McCallany.
Wow, you really can't get more Irish than that.
Yeah, exactly.
McCallany, I guess.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
Jeff, do you have an idea of who your which NSA, which guy is your guy?
I'm Simon.
Simon Stone. Okay.
Yeah, I'm just gonna get an image here. They'll be played by Richard Ayoade, the guy from the IT crowd or IT show.
Oh yeah, okay, cool.
Nice. Moss.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
And Hobbs, you got someone in mind who'll be playing him in the film version?
Yes, Damian Lewis.
Damian Lewis. Why do I know that name?
He was in Life. He was Charlie Cruz in the TV show Life.
Oh, okay, hold up here.
He's been in some other stuff. He may actually be in like another show now that's actually the same kind of agent or something. I'm not sure. Love that show.
Let's see. Oh yeah. He was in Homeland.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, and Band of Brothers.
I don't know. I like that show.
Okay. Okay.
He kind of looks like Adam, the guy that I'm basing my character off. So
okay, cool. All right. So then, next thing you got to do is we'll add some stats to these guys. You guys have 72 points to spread amongst your stats, and those of you who have played D&D before, you're going to be familiar with many of these stats: strength, con, dex, intelligence, charisma. The only different one is power, and power is just really like your willpower. There are derived stats that come from these, including your hit points, your sanity, your luck, your willpower. Those will come from those stats.
So the way we are right now is 60 points. So basically add 12 points to this, right? That's what you're saying?
Let's see here. If you start all of them, do they have them down at 10 to start?
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly.
Then just, you can bump down as well too. I think, yeah, you can put it as low as you want. It's just that a lot of your skills are based on. Oh no, they're not in this. In Call of Cthulhu, they're based off of stats, but that isn't the case here. Sometimes you'll be making stat checks. And basically, it's just you multiply whatever your stat is by 5. That's your percentile check you've got to do. So this game is, again, it's not like D&D, so you probably don't want to use too much in the way of dump stats, because that could really bite you in the ass. Remember that you guys are capable members of a bunch of different professional organizations. So they probably, if your character has a 6 charisma or a 6 strength, he probably wouldn't have got past the recruiting process.
What points do we get again?
72.
All right, jeez.
So basically 10 and everything, and then 12 extra points. And everything's 1 for 1.
12 extra. Nice. Yeah. That helped.
Now we get to make one decision, and this will determine how much in Iron Man mode we want to play. At default, you don't get an awful lot of hit points, which means that if combat does occur, gunfights occur and stuff like that, you could easily die. So do we want to play in that mode, or do we want to play in slightly cinematic where we just double your hit points? What is your preference, guys?
I feel like if we're going to have people watching and they're going to want to get involved in our characters, we should probably go cinematic. I'm a hardcore OSR guy who would normally say, oh no, lowest. But in this situation, it seems like if you want people to engage with the characters, they should be around for a while. Don't you think?
Yep. I totally agree.
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay. So we'll go with the cinematic rules and this is something I'm stealing from Acton Cthulhu, the cool game published by Modifius. Okay, and once you guys have your stats, and anyone still need time to put their stats in?
Yeah.
What was power for again?
Sorry, someone asked the question?
Yeah, what was power again? I got confused.
Power is so power is effectively kind of like your willpower. It's your ability. Okay. It's used to calculate your sanity, your willpower, and it can be used to what do they call them? Hypergeometric rituals. Yeah, generally when you start doing that shit, that's on the way. Usually, if in a traditional Call of Cthulhu game, your characters more often than not will not die; they will go insane. And this game has some really interesting custom rules for measuring the stress that your characters will be going through. One thing to start thinking of as you're going through your characters as well is to think of what your bonds will be. Each of you will have 3 bonds, and the bonds are basically your touchstones to normal life. It's the things that will, over the course of the campaign, as you're exposed to the horrible fucking things that you will be meeting, it's the stuff that it's your touchstone to normal life. What you can do mechanically is, as you lose sanity, instead of losing sanity, you can dump that and reduce your bond by a certain amount. The bond stat, we'll talk about what that's going to be in a moment, but it's things like a spouse, your kids, your church, softball team, an old war buddy, something like that. A college roommate, someone who is your pastor, your rabbi, someone who your character reaches out to and speaks to try and keep themselves grounded. Over the course of the campaign, we're going to those will be the scenes that are like the quiet scenes to help show how this being exposed to this shit is going to be affecting your character. They also may play into the campaign. They may be, depending on what happens in the game, they may be, think of supporting characters in shows like The X-Files or Hannibal or Mindhunter. All right. Who has not finished their stats?
I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good with the stats.
Good. Hobbs, you good?
Good.
Okay. So then, guys, for your hit points, add your strength plus your constitution. For your willpower, it equals your power stat. Your sanity starts at 5 times your power.
Sorry, willpower is power.
Willpower is equal to your power.
And sanity is 3 times that?
5 times.
5 times.
5 times your power. And then there should be, I think it's a breaking point is listed on your character sheet. It might be listed as BP.
Yeah.
BP is your sanity minus your power. So it's a fifth of your sanity. When you lose or you pass a breaking point, that's when you potentially have a breakdown.
You get some kind of a problem.
And hit points was how many times your...
No, just strength plus constitution.
Oh, strength plus constitution.
Normally divided by 2, but we're not doing that, right?
No, we're going to be playing with a little extra stuff. So, one lucky shot from a cultist won't kill you.
Those cultists.
Okay. Next thing we're going to do, guys, is we are... right. There's a cool thing called distinguishing features as well. Anybody have... Where is it here?
Sanity is, 5 times your power?
Your power, that's right.
Okay.
Okay, any stat above 12 or below 9 is exceptional. Anybody got those?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. So then write down one. I'm looking at page 19 of the Agent's Handbook. There are lists of... hold on. That's not, yeah, there's lists of distinguishing features for both high and low stats. Go ahead and record those. These are just samples too. So if you've got something else, like for instance, if Adam, you said you've got something that's over 12, right?
Yes.
What's that?
Strength, constitution, intelligence.
Okay. So let's say that you have a 14 strength. You could say that he's muscular or he's solid or he's whatever.
So that's not include. That's in 13 to 16 is what you're saying, right?
Yes.
That chart?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
So these are just samples there. Go ahead and write those things down, and then these come into play, or they can come into play in skill checks. If there's something where the distinguishing feature would play in, like if you say your character, I don't know, brick shithouse is the way you describe your high strength. If there's a situation where it's just where like this, you're bearing down your size or something like that, I may allow you to get a bonus. This also helps you kind of visualize what your character is going to be like. I'm going to minimize all the characters here too, so we've got everyone's picture on screen. Boom. Bill Taggart. Dr. Oh, Angela's got no picture yet.
I was working on my picture. That's why I was a little slow. You were saying something like,
That is a guy who appreciates his visual medium. Okay. And there is Simon. Nice. And Riley Crown. That's your character?
yes.
Hobbs K. Nice. All right. Riley Crown. Okay. All right. Now, has everyone finished adding their distinguishing features?
Yes.
I'm still working on mine.
Okay.
I'm making a hard copy in case we crash.
Okay.
Not that I'm
Oh, it'll
I
save
do.
to the it'll save to the cloud or to the Roll20 server.
I'm sitting next to a computer that's dead, so I don't trust technology at the moment. Going old school.
Fair enough. It is Cthulhu-esque, so
Yeah, you never know.
yeah.
The
All
world
right.
ends. I got my paper.
Nice. Okay. So the next thing we're going to do, guys, is pick a profession or from one of the federal agencies. Now, because you guys have all picked federal agencies, we're going to go to page 104 of the book. And let's see here. For those of you in the FBI, page 113. So that'll be Adam and Jason. You guys are going to go to page 113. There are suggested professions there. For the CDC, let's see here.
Page 158.
Oh, there you go. You're well ahead of me. And for the NSA, where is it here? And for those listening at home, there's a whole section in the back part of the agent's handbook that gives you a bunch of information on the different agents or different agencies in the United States that would make for good, Delta Green characters. And in addition to just giving you, a list of professions, they give you some insight into the organizations, their operating procedures, and things like that. So for those of us who are either not Americans or have never held a government job, it's pretty helpful. Right,
They don't technically have the NSA in there, or do they?
I don't know.
See them. I could change it.
I think it's. I thought I saw it near Homeland Security.
Oh, okay.
Maybe.
Let's see. DEA,
Is
ICE.
it NSB now? What's the National Security Branch?
Yeah, I don't see it in here, actually. There is a source book coming out for this, but what we could do, though, hold on. I'm going to look on page 20.
National Security Agency is on page 149 under
there we
other
go.
intelligence agencies.
There we go.
It's just a small little blurb, though.
Okay.
I imagine you would create your character similar to the CIA agent or the Department of State.
So for, let's see here. Under the CIA, what do they got here?
I mean, I can say he's CIA too. That doesn't really.
Oh, on page 152, there's the Directorate of Analysis. So that would probably be a good good thing to work from.
Yeah.
Okay, so once you get there, what you're going to do, guys, is your profession will give you a specific set of professional skills. And then you get some options for those as well. So there'll be some fixed ones you get, and then you'll get some additional skills. And then after that, you'll be getting your bonus skills, which is basically like kind of like specialty stuff, things that distinguish your character from any other agent in the same role as you. And those are generally starting on page 20 for the professions and starting on page 27 for the bonus skill picks. All right. Hey, we got Riley's got a picture too. Pretty nice. So how are we going with the professions, guys? Does it all make sense now, or?
Yeah, I mean, so we would just pick one of these suggested professions in here, and then When it
And then
says
there's-
profession,
Yep.
that's on page 29. Is that what you said?
Starting on page 20. Which profession are you looking at?
CID.
Oh, right. No, but it'll list a like under there. Oh, there's suggested
Federal
professions.
agent.
Federal agent. Okay, so you're going to look on page 21.
I'm really terrible at using PDFs too,
Sure.
by the way.
Me too. I've always had trouble with PDFs.
Mine's taking forever to load, so
I can read off your skills. If you go into your character sheet, Hobbs.
Yeah, I'm in my character sheet, but I think I've just federal agent. Here I am.
Oh, you got it?
Yep.
Perfect. Adam, were you able to find yours?
So I guess I'd be federal agent as well.
Probably, yeah. So then on page 21 is where you'd find your skills. And there's a list of professional skills, and you get all of those. And then you also pick one of those optional skills under choose one of them.
One of these. Okay.
Yeah.
What's the mark for to the left? The checkbox.
That means when you use it in play, you put a tick next to it.
Okay, so then we can roll to see if we get it.
Yeah,
Increase it.
exactly.
Okay. It's like Call of Cthulhu.
Totally like yeah.
So where do we put our role or our
Box.
profession?
Should be in. Let's see here. Your character is
Skills.
Right here.
The
Oh, you
skills
start
tab.
on the skills tab. Okay.
Yeah.
You can actually go to the All tab, and that should display everything.
Oh yeah, I always like the alt tab much better. Oh yeah, way better.
the All tab.
Yeah, it's on the far right of the top.
Gotcha. Okay, so then we're putting our professions in.
So who made this character sheet? Do we know? Because this is a pretty badass character sheet.
Yeah, it's really good.
So far, I mean, I guess I don't know how everything works.
Yeah, it actually drains your bank account, but
See, someone asked if I should attach my PayPal account. That should have been no.
yeah. To enjoy accessing this card, please enter your credit card information now. All right. Oh, I love it. I saw your charisma listed as awkward. So good.
My guy.
Oh no, are you guys both awkward?
I'm awkward.
Probably what it says in
I'm
there.
more like I'm gonna find a better word for it because he's more like brash.
Yeah, I said like he's brusque, isn't he?
Yeah,
He's
he kind
right
of
to
cuts
the
the
point.
chain. Doesn't deal with the crap from.
You know,
anyone.
and over the course of play, guys, like if we find that like when we actually meet these characters at the table and you start playing them and they're interacting with other characters, if you want to change shit, do it. You know, I'm not fussed about you know, we're gonna figure out who these guys are as we play, and I'm not worried about them being and sort of guys and girls. Well, I'm not worried about you sticking to a pre-written script of how you want to play your character. I'm much more interested in seeing it. You guys play them as they as they come out at the table.
The sheet keeps reverting my hit points back to the specified amount. I don't know if there's a macro we have to change or something.
Oh, let me see here. Maybe there.
Oh yeah, mine did that too. I just noticed.
Okay, let's see here. Your character is Dr. Angela. So let me take a look here. Usually there is I shouldn't say usually. Some of these character sheets, there is a cog where we're going to have the settings. Oh, here we go. Let's see here.
Oh yeah, and it changed everything. It changed my sanity to 99 for some reason. Weird.
Okay, let's see what's going on here. We may have showered this with praise too soon.
I was just thinking that. Dang it!
Well, no, yours.
Cancel the PayPal. Cancel the PayPal.
Okay, so Simon's is listed as correctly here.
Yeah, I just retyped them.
Oh, okay. Let's see here. I want to make a sanity check for you. Boom.
And my sanity's back to 99.
Let's see. Well, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Let's.
Okay.
Write it down on a piece of paper.
Yeah, you're not losing any sanity right now.
Yeah, what about paper?
How do you know we're not losing any sanity right now?
Are you kidding? These character sheets.
Bill.
Okay.
Who's Bill?
So once we pick our role, then...
Oh, sorry, Adam. I was fucking around with your sheet there. Sorry about that.
Oh.
I was trying to see if I can get it to work properly. Okay, let's see. Adams is working properly right now. Let's see. Well, let's see. Let's see if it goes on. Maybe. I mean, it seems like you guys have set it back to the proper levels. We'll see if it.
So, Kev, now it says here. So I chose intelligence analyst.
Right.
And it does actually list the NSA there.
Nice.
So when it says there below professional skills, like anthropology 40%. So am I supposed to change my values to what it says here?
Yes, to what it says on the character on the in the rule book.
Yes. Okay. And I don't have any control over this. This is just what they are.
That's just what they are. Yeah, you will have an opportunity to choose what you want with your bonus skills, and you do get to pick an extra thing as well. If you're a analyst.
Yeah.
Intelligence analyst. Okay, so yeah, yours are just fixed. You do get to choose your languages, though. Languages that would be helpful in here are, let's see here, Arabic and Eastern European languages.
Oh, do I check the box if I'm trained in it, or
no? That's what you check as you use them at play.
Okay.
Oh, and look at that lovely list of shitty things that can happen to you under status. Oh my god. Partially blinded, pepper sprayed, permanent injury. Oh, the things I could do to you guys. Death in 12 minutes.
Okay, so
oh my god, why would they have that as a well, I guess you could stop them from dying.
It's because the number in the box changes depending on what your constitution is, I would guess.
Oh, yeah, look at you. Check out the big brain on Hobbs.
Oh, that's what I got to change my intelligence thing. Instead of what I put, it should just say, I put eidetic memory because I'm sneaky, but I should have put big brain. That's way better.
Check out exactly.
What would be considered a heavy weapon?
Heavy weapon is stuff like machine gun, light and tank weapons, things like that.
So you mean like a machine gun, like a 50 caliber machine gun? You don't mean like an assault rifle?
No, like big fuck off guns.
So what languages were you saying were good, Kev?
Anything that is an Eastern European type language or Arabic will likely come in handy in this campaign.
Sanskrit, I bet.
That's the usual standard. One significant departure from this or this game from Call of Cthulhu is there's no library use skill. For those unfamiliar with Call of Cthulhu, one of your most useful skills was library use, because that's how you basically got all your information to be able to solve the fucking mysteries.
So the numbers that are populating next to our skills are those based on the bonuses we might be getting from our stats?
You don't get bonuses from your stats. I think those are just the starting rates.
Okay, so you automatically get 10% accounting?
Let's see here. You do, yep. Automatically get 10% accounting, 40% for unarmed combat.
So if your character says choose any of these three and it says accounting 50, am I putting in 60?
No, you're putting 50.
You're putting in 50. So you don't get, it's not 10 plus. You're you're maxing out at whatever it says in the book.
That's correct, yeah.
Okay, sounds good.
I'm going to double check that because I can't remember now. How'd you like that certainty, though? You really sounded like I was confident of it, right?
Make it so you make it.
I was buying it hook, line, and sinker.
Yep.
So who knows what's eight?
Yeah, scores replace the default skill ratings.
You did it so fast, I was going to ask while you were doing it.
Oh, okay, what's up?
I was asking what HUMINT is.
That is human. That is human intelligence. So the what that skill is a real fancy way of saying in a kind of military lingo, basically sense the motive.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah, it just is much more evocative.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell it means. If you want to keep me confused, then it's more evocative.
Human is human intelligence. This obtains information about a subject, especially information the subject would rather conceal through observation, conversation, or examining patterns of behavior and relationships. This is effectively like using tradecraft, tradecraft with a person to get out information about them that you need. Tradecraft is just like spy stuff, spy techniques.
Nice.
And craft is like creating things.
Yep. Craft is making and repairing sophisticated tools and structures. So like craft mechanic, you could jury rig a machine or get a broken engine working or sabotage one beyond repair. Craft locksmith could open a lock without a key. Craft gunsmith to repair a broken firearm. Each craft is a different type, and there's a list in, I mean, they're really kind of an open-ended one, but it's like architect, carpenter, electrician, gunsmith, locksmith, mechanic, microelectronics.
Is that on a certain page?
I am looking on.
Or are you just rattling these off with like pure genius?
What's that?
Or are you just rattling these off as in pure genius? I'm like,
no, I'm reading from a list.
Okay.
Okay. How we doing on skills, guys? Have we got our
Good.
profession skills? Okay. Once you've got your profession skills, guys, then I would take a look at page 27, where it gives you sample ideas of bonus skill packages. This helps sort of specialize your character or make them or distinguish them from other characters. And you can add, let's see here. How many points is it? Oh, you pick 8 skills and you increase them by 20 points each. And no skill can start higher than 80. So the skill point packages are just a helpful way to sort of know what those are, or to pick them to fit a certain theme. Like if you're an interrogator, with the FBI, or a nurse or a paramedic. Don't take an occult investigator, because the campaign starts with you guys, as far as you know, the world being normal.
Okay.
What page is this on, Kev?
I'm looking on page 27.
27. Okay.
I just thought of a question.
Yeah.
Down in like when it talks about individual professions, there's more stuff down there. So like if I was going to be a criminal investigations division, it had other stuff.
Yeah,
that was written there about skills. Are we supposed to add those, or?
What that does is it helps you figure out what of bonus skills, like what profession and what bonus skill package to take. So, like if you're part of the CID, the suggested bonus skills are criminologist, forensics, firearms, or law. And I think the way to think of that is, and what those are, Jay, is you can find them on page 27. If you want to look,
okay. Instead of taking the single bonus one that it said under federal agent, you take that instead.
Yeah, like the suggested bonus skills. Hold on, criminologist, is that? Oh, I see what's happening. Sorry, I'm confusing things. Yeah, the suggested bonus skills, instead of taking the ones that are under there, you can take that and you'd still have, like each of you is allowed to take 8 bonus skills, and each of those skills goes up by 20. To a max of 80. And then instead of just taking individual skills, you could take a package, which is on 27, and that just tells you what 8 skills you get.
So 8 bonus skills plus 20%.
Each of them gets plus 20, yeah, to a max of 80. Okay. And if you decide to just pick skills rather than pick the skill package, just give your skill package kind of a name. Get an idea of what that was. It's sort of like what your backstory is. So, like Adam, if your character was a cop before he became an FBI agent, there may be some things that he picked up as, part of the Chicago PD rather than as part of the FBI.
That's exactly what I'm doing.
Oh, nice. Okay.
It's sort of like a streetwise cop.
Nice.
The skills I'm picking.
Okay. Hobbs, what do you think? What's your guys' sort of specialty? Is he more focused on a specific part of the investigative process at FBI, or does he have a law degree?
Definitely not a law degree.
Yeah, fuck lawyers.
Yeah, those guys are terrible. Way too many. Where's that page that had the like CID and the different FBI branches?
That is on page
109, but
Yep. Page 113.
All right.
113.
Just got it.
So if you're a grad student in science, you get a whole bunch of cool stuff that I already have because basically I scientist with a grad student.
Well, did you max out at 80?
No, but it would give bonuses to a bunch of the things I already have.
So one of the cool things that this is an optional rule in the game, but they actually use it in a couple of the published adventures where rather than like like in certain sometimes in a game like your character will be an expert in something and you'll roll a knowledge check and you'll roll a fucking 1 and you're like, oh well, that's right, this is just a gap in your knowledge. This game gets around that by just setting thresholds for how high your skills are. Where if you're at a certain level of skill, you don't want to make a skill check, you just know certain things.
Okay.
So that's the benefit of maxing those out. It's not just to try and like work the system. There's like if you've got a character who's got like say 80 in forensics, I'm very rarely going to make you a roll for stuff. You'll just often know what whatever is available to be picked up. As long as you're like actually doing that, you'll succeed in that.
Probably, I think I'll be like the guy I'm basing off of is on the it's not the local, but it's the specialized area SWAT team. So I'll probably just use some of that stuff like firearms and
having an ass kicker and door kicker is going to be quite helpful, I think.
But I'm not a big, strong guy, so.
So, well, there may be a story behind that then too.
Yeah,
like, did he injure himself or something, or did he marry and that's why he transitioned out of that more high risk profession, or?
No, but like he's not military or any of that stuff to begin with. He kind of just like he was like a UPS guy for a long time and like putting himself through college, even like Judson, like an online college for quite some time to get to the position he was at. So he kind of, instead of going the normal route, it's like he went through, he wasn't like the big football star or any of that thing. It was, or a wrestler, like the head of the FBI in this area. Mm-hmm. It was just more of like a normal guy who kind of went through and ended up being an FBI agent.
Okay. Well, then what do you think what would be the bonus skills to distinguish that guy from?
Well, I mean, he definitely does like firearms a lot. He's very perceptive. I don't know what that would be, but I was thinking he could be better at human for sure, because he seems very good at reading people.
You lose a lot of money to poker there.
I wouldn't go that far.
The first thing I went for was human for my character.
Yeah. One of the things that's cool about this game is, and what you'll find about the campaign is, if you've got a skill, like it's not like Call of Cthulhu where like there's one skill that you need to be good at and then everything else is sort of dressing. Whatever skills you've got, you can pursue investigations in a bunch of different ways, and if you just play to your character's strengths, then you will more often than not find a way forward. Like if say Dave's character, Dr. Angela, she can't read people for shit, but she's good at doing an autopsy or noticing wounds or things like that. Then that's the way that you try and get more clues, right? You try to get more info that way. So one of the ways, that said, one of the things that also differs this game from Call of Cthulhu is that they really emphasize, in Call of Cthulhu, you face a wide variety of amazing Lovecraftian monsters over the course of play. The thing about Delta Green is the horror is human. We are the things that are fucking terrible. So the reveal for whatever awful thing is behind things, that's often the capstone to a campaign. It's dealing with everyday schmoes, or everyday people who are caught up in some kind of horrible fucking thing, doing awful things to each other, probably for some kind of supernatural reason. But with that in mind, there will be the scraps you'll be getting into will be with people. It'll be gunfights with people. So
hopefully they allow me to use my chemistry set.
Sorry?
So hopefully they allow me to use my chemistry set in the gun.
Exactly. How are we in terms of our characters now, guys? Do we have the bonus skills picked?
Midway.
Midway, okay.
Midway.
I've got mine picked.
Okay. Jeff, how you doing?
Good. I think I'm got everything where I need it.
Outstanding. So then, what I'll start doing is just talking through what the next step will be, guys, which is...
Where do languages go?
Where do languages go? Let me take a look at the character sheet. I didn't know. Should be under skills. Add. I think you're going to add. You see where at the end of the character sheet?
Yeah. Foreign language.
Yep.
Foreign language. British.
Proper English. I know what a bonnet is.
It's about, not a boot.
Okay. So once you have your bonus skills picked, guys, we're going to go to bonds, which is on page 36. And these are the things that I talked about the connections to the, to real life. So take a moment once you've finished with your skills and think about the things that, this character may be teetering on the edge, which also may make them a candidate for Delta Green. But this is these are the things that will, over the course of play a role in the campaign for things that keep you normal. The aspects of your normal life, It's the parts of a David Fincher film where we actually see color. It's not just washed out. The other thing to think of, or another way of thinking of it, is what are the parts of this character's life do you want to see on screen? Like, what are the things that you want to see explored as we go through this? If, your character in the backstory, you have an idea that they've got an ex-husband or an ex-wife, but you don't really care to have them as part of the campaign, don't pick that as a bond. Pick something else. But if you like the idea of like a spouse or a child or whatnot, one thing I can tell you is that I'm not going to be using these characters just to fridge them. Your bonds are not going to be there for me to torture and kill and whatever else. At least not as a, they're not there just for targets for me. As the campaign evolves, things might happen, but you're not just making a list of, characters that I will do awful things to in the campaign. Hobbs, I made that joke about DNPCs when I was describing it.
Yes. So it says we're supposed to take 3 as a federal agent. Are there bonus bonds, or you just take those?
No, just take 3 bonds.
And where do we put them on our character sheet?
I believe, let's see here. Bonds go under psychological data. There's a button that says add.
Here it is. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. It says bonds, and we are supposed to just say kind of what the example is, and then are we putting anything else in there, or
what we'll do is I want to talk through them a little bit, and get an idea of who you think these characters, like who these are, because I'll be making use of that in my prep for the first session.
Nice. So I have some.
Nice. So what are your bonds?
Best friend Calvin.
Calvin, okay.
Poker buddy.
What does Calvin do?
Calvin and Hobbes.
He's his poker buddy, and he sells water treatment equipment in a van.
Nice. And he is the host of a wildly successful podcast. Love it.
So if I put the name in there.
Yep.
And then it says score and then projected or something.
I think it's equal to your the score is equal to your charisma stat.
Oh, okay. Is it going to keep it?
Good question. I don't know. Let's find out. I'm looking at the wrong character here. Here we go. Oops. Fuck. Which tab are you on, Hobbs? On all? Calvin. Yeah, I see 13.
Yeah, looks good. I haven't done anything though since then, so I don't have to change it. So do I do you want all 3 now, or?
Yes, please.
Okay.
So Calvin is your poker buddy. How does he know? Like, is there anything else? Like, do they grow up together? Are they folks you met somehow, or?
No, because Riley had to just move when he joined this particular branch of the FBI. So he's lived here for the past 5 years. So they play poker together.
Okay.
They're in a local non-for-profit organization together.
Okay. Cool.
What was the rest of the questions? Anything else?
No, that's good. The reason, so what I'm looking for, and for those of you who are going to be coming up with your bonds, what I want to get an idea of is where I can stage scenes with them. So, like, if there's, I can have a scene of you having a conversation with Calvin outside of the house where you're playing poker, or after a meeting at the not-for-profit.
Yeah, we also like play darts together.
Okay.
So at the local pub.
This is really a vicarious opportunity for you to hang out with yourself, isn't it?
Which is really weird, yeah. Because
and what is it? Having I give you the warning of what's going to happen to these characters too. What does it say about yourself that you introduce yourself as a character? Pretty cool. Okay, what are the other two, or do you have them in mind yet?
Yep, I have one. Coworker, Randall.
Okay.
So he would be, I can't remember what it was called, but like leads this, his branch of the CID.
Okay.
So he's got a house that's in a nicer part of town, and it's kind of off to the side. So we like shoot our guns there, that sort of thing. He's older and obviously about, just a few years from retirement.
So he's the special agent in charge?
Yep.
Okay. And do you have a third one as well?
Yeah, I think it will be maybe a female friend that isn't actually the spouse or the ex-spouse.
Okay. Is it like a fuck friend, or is it like just a friend who's
no? But there might be occasional electricity that occurs there.
Okay.
So it would be someone who maybe is like in the DEA, like a local group that he works with sometimes,
okay.
Or goes out to lunch with, or sees for work functions or other things like that.
Okay. Like maybe an administrative role?
Could be, or it could also, it could maybe just be like the financial person, in the FBI in their branch. That he doesn't see that often, but occasionally does and talks to.
Can I make a pitch?
Yeah.
What do you think if she's with HR and that's why nothing's ever happened?
Yeah, that's perfect.
So there could be, that could explain the tension and whatnot, and just she knows that just won't happen.
Well, I mean, maybe I can
Not
just
yet,
have a
at
lot
least.
of willpower.
Do you have a name for this female friend?
Yes, Rebecca.
Rebecca. Okay. Is Riley married? Divorced?
Married and divorced.
Okay.
So, I mean, divorced and remarried is the name.
Yeah, I took that to be the case. Okay, so marriage number 2.
Yeah.
I love it. I love that you didn't pick that as a bond too. That is interesting. Any kids?
3. 2 girls from the previous marriage and a young boy from the current marriage.
Okay. How old's the young boy?
7.
Okay, so just to give an idea of how old the kids are. Okay, so and again, that's very interesting that he didn't pick those as bonds.
Yeah. So the girls would be 18 and 14.
Love it.
Where do we enter the bonds on the character sheets?
Or psychological data.
Okay, that makes sense.
Okay, so we got Randall is the special agent in charge. We got Calvin, who's his poker buddy, and we've got Rebecca, works in HR at his branch, and then his wife, 3 kids, and
2 kids live in with the first marriage. Obviously, I think. Did you get that? I don't know if you realize that.
With their mom, Kim.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Cool. Yeah, that's awesome. How old is he?
38.
38 years old. Okay.
Exact same age as my character.
Nice. All right. So, and that's cool. There's a lot of fun stuff to explore there. Who else has completed their bonus skills and is ready to talk about their bonds?
I have.
Awesome. Okay. I'm going nuts. What's your first bond?
All right. So wife, still married but separated. We separated a long time ago, but never went through the divorce because we're pretty practical.
Okay. Are you Catholic?
We'll say
Like, I don't know. You don't need to play. She could be Catholic, and your character may not be, and that's why you're not divorced.
I think both Catholic, but not too serious about it. You know, like raised Catholic more than practicing Catholic.
Okay. What's the wife's name?
Oh, I have no names for these people.
Her name is Nameless NPC.
Yeah. I have a nickname for her. Her name is Wife.
I see why you're separated now.
Oh, I see. Exactly. Yeah. Oh, you need an identity. We'll just say
Sheila.
Sure. Yeah, I like
Sheila?
it.
Oh, Shayla.
Okay. Okay. So Sheila is separated. Do you guys have any kids?
Yeah, we have a daughter. Daughter, we'll say Stephanie.
Is the daughter one of your bonds?
Yes.
Okay.
So the wife, I'm still married, separated. But once we decided to separate, all the wrinkles kind of ironed out because she wants nothing to do with my work. She doesn't want me to bring it home. So we separated, and then all of a sudden it became like a practical relationship where we can still talk on a regular basis.
Does Stephanie live with mom, or is it alternating?
Stephanie mostly lives with mom. I agreed to that because of my work. But she's way too curious about my work. Like where my wife wants nothing to do with it. My daughter like sneaks out to try and find out more about what I do, and I try to protect her.
Okay.
That's part of the reason why I said no. You're staying at your mom's. We'll see you on the weekends, but
yeah. Okay. And who's your third bond?
Younger brother. Name will be Steve because that's a very bland-ish name.
Somewhere. Steve Morris, who plays in our game, is stabbed in the back.
Because he's the complete opposite of me. He's like a kind, gentle guy, but we get along. We can like meet and have beers and talk. But I'm like gruff. I'm crude.
What's the age difference between the two? Like, are you guys like 1 or 2 years apart, or are you guys? Is there a significant gap?
Significant gap. He's probably, we'll say, like 8 years younger. So I'm 54. He's 46.
So you're 54?
Yeah.
Okay. Nice. And you're on marriage number 1, right?
Yeah, and I have no intention of like pursuing any romance because of how crazy my job got. We'll say.
Sure. Okay. Well, awesome. Okay. Who else has done their skills and is ready to talk about their bonds?
Of course.
Okay. Jeffrey, you are playing, let's see.
Simon.
Simon Stone. Who's his first
Now,
bond?
I have a proposal here, and if you'll excuse the repetitiveness of the bonds, I'd like to say that he has 3 bonds that are all his friends.
Okay.
And they are his Dungeons and Dragons playgroup from his childhood that he's still friends with, that he games online with now.
Yeah, love it.
In his adult life.
Love it.
Their names are James, Brent,
Yeah.
and Dave.
I am so glad I didn't make that list. I'd hate to kill myself. All right.
Hey.
So tell me about James.
Let's see. James is an engineer, and I'm gonna say they live in different parts of the country at this point. So they've moved on. James is married. He's got a family. He lives in Chicago.
Okay. Okay. How about Brent?
Brent is a doctor.
Okay.
He has a wife. They don't have any kids yet. He lives in California.
Okay. Cali.
Let's say
Hobbs and Adam, to know the inside joke, James, Brent, and Dave are the guys who played in our regular group.
We were assuming.
Yeah. He's a doctor living in LA and married.
Okay. And what about Dave?
Dave is a New York stock exchange business type guy.
Okay.
And he has 3 girlfriends.
Nice. Okay. Okay. Nice. Okay. So last but not least, Dave.
So my first Bond is her husband,
Okay.
Richard Brackett, who she has a close relationship with.
Okay.
He works in finance, takes care of their two girls, like picks them up from school and stuff. Pretty solid guy, and everything is like, happy-go-lucky American romance story.
Love it. Although when you said Richard Brackett, I initially heard Richard Kimball. I'm like, that doesn't bode well for you at all.
Nope, not at all.
Who's number 2?
Number 2 is Dr. Jennifer Henker,
Okay.
her mentor, professional advisor, great friend, someone she confides in with all the stuff she can't tell her husband about work and the weird crap that they do in his research.
Before I forget, Simon, how old are you?
Oh, sorry. What did I write down? 34?
You 34?
Yeah.
Okay. And how old is Dr. Brackett?
She's 38.
38. Okay. Okay, so Dr. Is it Henkel?
Henker.
Henker. Okay. Dr. Jennifer Henker. All right. And who's Bond number 3?
Little sister Sarah Orleans, main name of my character. And she's a bit of a wreck. She's like twice divorced, can't commit to anything, not even a job. She's like always got some kind of melodramatic issue and problem that she needs to talk to her sister about. But I'm in the middle of like an experiment, and I got like, these crazy chemicals around me, and my phone's buzzing off the hook. And damn it, it's Sarah. Can't that girl even handle anything on her own? She probably burnt her toast.
So the interesting thing about that is because Sarah is a source of is a bond for you, you get, I'm assuming you get a lot out of being that big, like supportive, together big sister then.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
Why
Wow.
does your bond sound like me too? The last one, I mean.
Okay. All right. So we got the bonds down, guys.
Oh, and I got a picture now for Angela. I stole it from Jurassic Park.
Let's see here. Who from Jurassic Park?
Julianne Moore from Jurassic Park.
Oh,
Jurassic
awesome.
World, or
Yeah.
when she was photographing the dinosaurs.
Cool. Okay. And the last thing we need to pick, guys, is we got your name, we got your age, you're all American. Okay, we got motivations, which is on page 38.
Motivations.
So with the motivations is this game makes the assumption that you're playing characters. It's not like you're waiting for the game to find a way to hook you into it. Your characters are stars of this campaign because they're they're the type of person who Delta Green would want to commit. So what is it about your character that would want them to, investigate the unnatural, to put themselves and potentially their families at risk in order to try and confound the workings of powerful and otherworldly things that lurk beneath the surface of the world, metaphorically and figuratively, of course.
I think I have mine.
Okay.
Simon has always been obsessed with the occult, and he's always believed, that it's sort of real, like, Crowley really did summon demons and, all that kind of stuff. Like, the Nazis really were discovering occult powers. Like,
Yep.
He read Hellboy comics when he was a kid, and, sort of,
Nice.
all of that is true or true-ish, or, like based on some fact or whatever. So he's always sort of, he'll take any case or anytime they have any work for him that sort of leans that way, he's always jumping on it. So he's
awesome.
He's into the occult.
Okay. I'll just go. You know what you could do, guys, is while we're in, see what Adam's done with his character name? If you guys could change your character names or your display name to the same thing, have your name and then in brackets your character's name. That's awesome. Dave, how about you? What's the reason that Angela would want to throw away all that stability?
Well, I think for Angela, it's early on in her scientific world. She came across a really strange book that had like sciencey experiments and stuff that didn't make any sense. But when she started looking into them, they pointed to her in a different direction, and she's kept that book and tried not to read it. And it kind of like calls to her and wants her to keep looking into this strange science. And so she hasn't told.
I'm gonna nix that because that's just too. It's a little too Call of Cthulhu and not for this. Here's the extent of the unnatural. I think you might have been exposed to is like there may be some kind of. You work for CDC, right? There may have been a misfiled pathogen or some kind of sample that crossed your desk. And in the course of like just normal work, you found this thing, but it defied every natural law that you knew.
Sure.
And it just because like the in Call of Cthulhu, that is absolutely what would have been appropriate for the setting. This is a little more low key.
I've never played Call of Cthulhu, so I was just making that up.
Sorry. Yeah, what this is, so it would be that, or the
pathogen thing works fine. That works for my character.
And I think it's not something you've kept. So like you had that, and for whatever reason, maybe you didn't show someone, or maybe you showed one person, and then suddenly it disappeared from your lab, and you had it secure, you had it in a safe place, and so for some reason it's just gone now.
I told my mentor.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. So you told Dr. Henker about it, and then suddenly, that's interesting. I can't wait to see how that impacts on your relationship with her. Cool. How about Special Agent Crown?
We were on a case where a man and his wife had been kidnapped. Oh, I guess I'm not supposed to tell you that much about it, right? I just reading this as we were talking. Basically, a case happened, and the manhunt led us to a location. And when we got to the guy, there was a gunfight, and he seemed to take a lot more than he should. And after that, one of the guys got shot, and we just got out of there as soon as we finished off what was going on with the case. And but it was definitely a weird thing. But we just figured he was hopped up on PCP or something.
Okay,
does that sound good?
Yeah. Well, that's a good bit of backstory, but it's like just like with Angela, what's the thing that propels him forward? What's the thing that would make him?
Why does he look into it?
Yeah, why is what I'm looking for is is it his Angela? Let me throw it for the Angela thing. Angela's sister sounds like a self-destructive wreck, and Angela seems like she's priding herself on being a stable, semi-family or whatnot too. But that aspect could be there. That maybe she's been she waits for Dr. Henker to have her computer open, and she checks to try and find more information about that. Like there may be something. It's something in your character that is the reason why you're the person in a horror movie who will go into that fucking darkened house when everyone else is like, "Fuck it, call the police, wait for daylight."
I mean, if the process is important, then it was difficult for him to finish the process, because anytime he asked about like what happened to Matt, Agent Ferry, and why he was shot, when we know it was like a kill shot on this guy, and Randall, agent in charge Randall, always seems to just push that away and never really want to talk about that, but he's always going to try to figure it out anyway, because he needs to know.
Here's what. So this it sounds like this was someone you worked with, right? Like that Riley worked with.
Yeah.
So on this event thing, you guys split up in a house. When you heard gunfire, you went in there. The side of his throat was fucking torn out. You pursued this guy, took a lot of bullets, or this guy or this thing or what else took a lot of bullets to finally go down. When you saw the report about it, he was. It wasn't a severed jugular or anything like that. It was a gunshot wound. GSW was listed on the thing, and that's you're like, no, that's not. And then it became apparent to you that like you should just let it fucking go.
Okay.
How about Bill?
So Bill, I think I want to bring it back to sort of the wife and daughter, and maybe even the faith, in the sense that my wife knows that I'm really good at my job, and she doesn't want me to stop doing my job, and that's why she agreed to like separate and be friends rather than be married, because it creates a little bit of distance between her and my and me and my daughter and me, to protect them from my work.
Okay.
But they know that I'm good at it, so she still encourages me to like be the cop that I need to be.
Okay.
And I think from that also, faith plays a small role in the sense of kind of knowing through church, like the individuals behind the different people you see around you, like knowing that everyone has individual emotions, individual backstories. And she sort of, because I'm kind of a crude, brash kind of guy, she's the one that is my kind of like compass to remind me that, there's an individual behind that. Like there's a reason why this person might be acting this way. It's not that he's a drug dealer, it's that he was raised in a poor neighborhood. She's the one that brings me back to the human element.
Okay. So, and why does that prompt you to, like, why would that prompt you to undertake these kind of investigations?
I think that she kind of pushes me to understand that sort of like emotional breaking points, those emotional, like where people start to kind of dip into that, like past their threshold.
Okay.
And she knows that even though I'm like crass, I'm also a good interrogator, and I have good kind of senses when it comes to like communicating with people. So I think.
Okay. I'm just gonna go through each of you guys here. So Jeff, how does Simon justify breaking the rules? Because he will over the course of the campaign. We know that.
Right. He justifies it because he believes that there are secrets out there, and in his opinion, there shouldn't be any. Like, he's kind of trying to break down the barriers of secrets, and so if he needs to sort of cross the line to uncover a secret, he'll do it. Okay.
Dave, how does Angela justify breaking rules?
Well, it's the pursuit of knowledge gets to her, so she wants to break through on some things, and she thinks it's helpful.
Okay. How about Riley? I mean, Riley sounds like a pretty styed, not styed, but a procedural, like you said, like he's a very steady person. What's going to drive him to want to break rules?
All right, so let me step back a second. So I understood now, like the motivation should just be like a sentence that's kind of makes sense, right? So I just put everything should make logical sense to him.
Think of this. So the reason that Fox Mulder goes and involves with those, investigations, because he needs to know what the fuck happened to his sister. And if learning more about the truths of the world will help him understand that, then that's why he does what he does.
Okay. So even though you want everything to make sense, but laws have exclusions, and you can rationalize that for a perfect situation, right? Or just like a given situation. Hey, I need to figure this out so it makes sense to me. The world is too ugly as it is. So if I need to break a rule or bend something for this greater good, then I will.
Okay. And how about Bill? How would Bill justify breaking rules?
Or
is that sort of what he did when he was a cop?
I'm trying to think of like exactly where he sits on rules, because he does have like you said, a Catholic background where there is like the Catholic sort of rules of his faith that he tries to be the supportive religious person, but knows that he's not. Like, he was raised that way.
Okay, let me just. I'll try and help you focus here a little bit. So what's over the course of the campaign, you're going to break the rules. You're going to steal shit from your organization. You're going to convince people to do stuff. You're going to access information you're not supposed to have access to. What is it that your guy? How does he reconcile that? Like, it's just that like there's a greater good. Is it that he just needs to know the answer to something?
I think. So again, along the faith line, he knows that things are not black and white.
Okay.
He knows that through going to church, he knows that it's not like, oh, I'm never going to lie. He knows that there is room for that gray area in regular human existence. So I think that's how he justifies it. He's like, yeah, I'm doing some gray stuff, but I'm trying to pull it towards the good.
Okay, so he thinks that there's he's going to justify it as being this is what's for the best, so he'll just do it.
I think it's more like a sacrifice. Like someone's got to do the shit.
Okay.
To like help the people not get into it.
I love it. It's a Catholic with a martyr complex. That's awesome. So we at the time of the campaign, it's going to be 2019, or actually it'll be 2018. I'll set the year in the past because we're going to be not necessarily in the winter. Do any of your characters have records of military service? Nobody?
No.
I see two shaking heads. Angela, no?
No.
Adam, no? Okay.
No, I thought about it, but I decided to make him just kind of a cop instead.
Okay. And what cities are your characters living in currently? Hobbs, you said that you've been at your place for 5 years. Where do you see him being?
A little town in the Midwest called Byron, Illinois.
Yep. Byron,
Boston for Bill.
Okay. Sorry, where for Bill?
Well, he was a Boston cop. I don't know after Quantico where the feds would station him, but maybe still Boston.
You can place him wherever you like, really. Back at like same place he was before, or
yeah, because he still has a wife in Boston, so like they would maybe put him back in Boston.
Okay. Okay, Boston. Oops. Dave, do you know where Angela's living?
Some place just outside of Atlanta.
Awesome. I was actually thinking that because I'm like, the only place I know that has a CDC, at least as far as The Walking Dead tells me, is in Atlanta.
That's where the main office is, the main CDC.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And Jeff, where is Simon?
He'll be at the headquarters, so he's in at Fort Meade in Maryland.
Okay. Nice. Awesome. All right. Let's see. Is there anything else we need to know about these guys and gals? We're not going to start anyone with a mental disorder to start with, because I think that's going to be a check in the mail anyway.
What about this? What about these things that are on the next page right after motivations when it talks about the damaged veterans being extreme?
Yeah, I'm not going to. I don't want anyone starting with occult stuff just yet, because we're going to reveal that over the course of the campaign. Because basically what that is it's opportunities to sort of if you're playing a campaign where your characters are starting as already part of Delta Green, and you've the precipitating incident that brought you into the organization is behind you. That's one of the ways to sort of reflect that mechanically.
Nice.
Yeah, it's cool. Like one of the things that the game, unlike Call of Cthulhu, it expressly models. There's 3 different kinds of things that can bring about sanity loss, and over the course of play, you can become inured to some of them. If you're a 8-year Afghan vet, you've been exposed to some really fucking horrific violence, so your character may be completely inured to that. Like they're just like exposure to more violence, someone else being shot. It's not going to, it may trigger PTSD, but it's not going to be triggering further sanity loss. If you're a mobster, or something like that, then similar. The only thing you cannot become inured to, I believe, is the unnatural. The mind, just like in other Call of Cthulhu type things, the mind recoils from the awful truths of the universe. So, okay. So then I guess the last thing to pick is just your starting, kit, which I can't remember where that is. Where are we here?
I know Bill's got a serious nicotine addiction. He doesn't drink, but a serious nicotine addiction.
Yeah. Oh, and this, think of like hobbies, beliefs, and these are things we don't necessarily need to talk about right now. But why don't we do this? Let's say we'll cap up the session with, if someone meets your character for the first time, what's the impression that they get? So, and you can think like physically, what are they probably doing? What are they like? Do they smell like cigarettes? Do they, over perfumed? We'll go reverse order this time. So we'll go, Adam, what is, someone meets Bill for the first time, what's the impression they get?
Definitely the smell of like cigarettes mixed with aftershave sort of thing. Not necessarily completely unpleasant, but that's probably the smell that they'll get. If he's in his downtime, where would we find him? That's a good question. He doesn't drink. I want to say like a bowling alley.
Okay.
Like a barrel-chested boulder.
Yeah.
Who just like goes to like the bowling alley that allows him to smoke, and just hangs out there to blow off steam. Okay.
Hobbs, what's the where would we find Riley in his downtime, and what's the impression you get?
It depends on the season, because he's an avid hunter.
Okay.
But so he could be just out hunting, and just that's kind of maybe where his leveling place is. But it's only during hunting season, obviously.
Okay.
Obviously, he sits around and plays poker, plays darts. He is so he could be at the bar, or he could be at someone's house playing poker, or at the casino if there's one nearby. But your first impression of him would be almost completely average looking, and never someone that you would think is carrying a gun. Probably the most striking thing other than that is kind of small, deft-fingered hands.
Okay. So like when you see him, like if he's the dealer or something, there's a crisp...
if anything he does, you can just definitely see that his fingers seem like, very efficient movements, and just very deft. Like he's very good. Like even when he opens something or eats or cuts his food or whatever, just seems like maybe, and also a little OCD the way that he does that. So,
all right, cool. Dave, where do we find Angela in her downtime, or Dr. Brackett in her downtime?
Dr. Brackett is almost always with her family, and so she's at like dance class for the girls, or having friends over for little dinners and things like that. Mostly cooked by her husband, but she does everything else. And what you probably notice about her is she's very casual but professional. So you don't, she just comes across as really easy to get to know and talk to, even though she's really, really smart.
Okay. Okay, cool. So she's like everyone's favorite doctor, I guess, eh?
Yeah.
She's just fucking CDC doctor. I keep wanting to make her a family doctor.
Yeah, no, she's experiments on weird shit, but she's like, bring her over and she'll make you a cocktail, and it's like delicious.
Okay. And what about Simon?
I would say Simon is very quiet. If you were to meet him, that's what you would think. He's not open and like outwardly, communicating about his job, because obviously his work will be quite secretive. And so I guess if you were to see him, you would probably see him online more than you would see him out somewhere.
Okay. So he's a bit of a homebody.
Yeah, I would say.
Okay. Awesome. All right. Well, then, guys, that brings us pretty much to the end of the session 0. We got 4 exciting investigators that will be, we'll be taken out for a spin in 2 weeks' time. So that's pretty exciting, guys. Congratulations on creating the cast of Delta Green Veritas Vos Liberabit. So for those listening at home, if you have any comments, questions, or concerns regarding the session, please don't hesitate to leave a comment in the comment section below, or you can shoot me a tweet on Twitter at Dungeon Musings. That's all one word and plural. Or you can shoot me an email at dungeonmusings@gmail.com. As a reminder as well, if you want to follow the campaign and see some of the materials that the characters will be exposed to over the course of this ongoing campaign, you can join the MeWe group that's linked in the description of this video. It's an open group, so anybody can join. As well, we'll be playing live every 2 weeks at the same time from 8 till 10 Central Time. Last but not least, I want to thank my players. So, guys, thanks so much for joining me tonight. This was a lot of fun getting these, meeting these characters and getting ready to drive them mad. So Jeff, Dave, Hobbs, and Adam, thank you so much for joining me tonight, guys.
Thank you,
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Kev.
All right, last thing I'm going to mention as well, too, is since this is our first really full session of the new year, too, I want to remind the folks listening at home that the charity fundraising campaign that we're running on the channel, again for this year, is the Heroes Save Villages campaign. You can find information about that in the link in the video description below. But the nutshell version is this is a charity campaign we're running in connection with SOS Children's Villages International, which is a really terrific charity that provides both advocacy and benefits for children living in high need circumstances. If you enjoyed the session, if you enjoyed the channel, I'd ask that you just consider clicking through the link to learn a little more about the campaign. There's some neat rewards we've got there, including up to for a $100 donation, I will run a charity session of your game of choice with your group of choice. Speaking of which, this coming weekend, we've got 2 of the stars from this particular campaign who will be joining me back in the blasted lands of Hyperborea, where we will be getting our Viking on. So Hobbs and Adam will be the stars, some of the stars of that session. So, but we also have a lot of smaller things, including a pretty neat option to add an NPC to a campaign. So if you want to throw an NPC into the campaign, you can work with me on that. And we can come up with a very interesting secret that can make life either good or very, very bad for the players. So all that information can be found at the link through to the Heroes Save Villages campaign. I have dragged out this outro long enough and tried to make it for my players who want to get on with their fucking lives. So we'll end this session here. I'll say thanks for listening at home and happy gaming, everybody.